Dear friends, welcome to new class, new session. In previous session, we discussed about the pollination, different types of pollination, and biotic and abiotic pollinating agents involved in the cross-pollination. After the completion of this topic, here in this session, we proceed with the next concept, characteristic of entomophilous flowers. First we discuss entomophilous flowers, next we proceed with the remaining concepts. So here, entomophilous flowers. What are entomophilous flowers? Flowers which perform pollination, cross-pollination with the help of insects. These flowers are called entomophilous flowers. As we know that there is a one type of cross-pollination, it is called entomophily. Entomophily is the cross-pollination where pollen grains are transferred with the help of insects. Entomophily is a cross-pollination where the pollen grains are transferred from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower with the help of insects. Insects are helpful for pollination. Such a type of pollination is called entomophily. The flowers which perform entomophily are called entomophilous flowers. So here, to achieve successful entomophily, to perform effective entomophily, these entomophilous flowers, they show some modifications, some changes or development of some extra biological features or extra biological characters. What are those things? We discuss here. See here, entomophilous flowers commonly they show these biological characters. First, flowers are larger in size. Commonly, the flowers which performs entomophily or entomophilous flowers, they have bigger size, bigger petals, bigger sepals. What is the reason? Because of their bigger size, they are very well visible to the insects. Due to their bigger structure, they attract insects. Because of this reason, commonly entomophilous flowers normally have bigger size of flowers. Whereas second one is bright colors. Flowers produce the bright colors. Due to the bright colors, insects are very easily attracted towards the flowers. Here, petals and the sepals, what we are calling non-essential floral parts, petals and sepals, they produce bright colors, different types of colors to attract the insects. Because here flower is dependent on the insects for its pollination. Because of this reason, flower wants to attract the insects. Here, flower attracts the insects by its bigger size, also by producing bright colors. Whereas next when we observe, pollen grains are sticky. Entomophilous flowers produce the pollen grains which are sticky in nature. What is the reason here the pollen grains are sticky in nature? See, when insect, for example, say here we have a type of insect. When this insect visit the flower, from the flower, pollen grains has to stick, has to attach to the body of insect. For easy attachment of pollen grains to the body of insects, here pollen grains are sticky in nature. Because of sticky nature of the pollen grains, they easily attach to the body of insect. So next one is pollen kits are present. What are pollen kits? See, pollen kits are specialized coverings, or these are the specialized coats commonly present in pollen grains. Which type of pollen grains? The pollen grains which are produced by the entomophilous flowers, they possess pollen kits. Pollen kits are specialized coverings. These coverings provides the sticky nature to the pollen grains. We know that pollen commonly in entomophilous flowers, pollen grains are sticky in nature. What is the reason for their stickiness? This sticky property is provided to the pollen grain with the help of pollen kits. Pollen kits are specialized coverings or the coats. These specialized coverings or the coats provide the sticky nature to the pollen grains, and with the help of pollen kits, these pollen grains very easily attach to the body of insects, and it is helpful for the pollination. Whereas next, when we observe these entomophilous flowers provides rewards to insects. Entomophilous flowers give rewards to insects. What is the meaning of rewards? We can say benefits to the insects. What type of benefits? I think you heard about the nectar. Nectar is a sugary fluid. Nectar is a sugary fluid. It is produced by the specialized glands present within the flower. Commonly, those glands are called nectaries. Within the flower, not in all flowers, in some of the flowers, within the flower, maybe commonly in the base of the flower, particularly base of the gynoecium, we observe specialized glands. These glands are called nectaries. These nectaries secrete the liquid or a type of fluid. It is called nectar. It is rich in some carbohydrates. This nectar is act as nutritional material to many of the insects. Means insects consume this nectar as a nutritive material, as a food material, to receive, to catch, to consume this nectar. Many of the insects will visit the flowers. During this visit, they perform the cross-pollination, what we are calling entomophily. So many of the entomophilous flowers produce the nectar. To consume this nectar, insects visit the flower. Because of this reason, nectar is a reward to the insects provided by the flowers, entomophilous flowers. Not only nectar, pollen grains. Pollen grains are very important structures in the plant body, particularly in a flower. Pollen grains are male gametophytes. As they contain male gametes, pollen grains are helpful for the fertilization. Apart from this one, many of the plants, in many of the flowers, pollen grains are act as a rewards to the insects. See, plants produce large quantity of huge number of pollen grains. Means the amount of pollen grains required to the fertilization, more than that pollen grains are produced in a flower. Because of this reason, supposed to be some quantity of pollen grains are utilized as a rewards to the insects. There is no problem to flowers. They can carry their process of pollination and fertilization very easily. In this way, in many of the flowers, we observe that pollen grains are act as a rewards to insects. Because many of the insects consume pollen grains as food material. Because of this reason, to consume such pollen grains, many of the insects visit the flowers. And in this process, they perform the cross-pollination, particularly entomophily. So like this here, nectar and the pollen grains are very good rewards given by the entomophilous flowers. Apart from this one, here, many of the entomophilous flowers, they show mutualism or symbiotic association with the insects. What is mutualism? Mutualism is also called symbiotic association. First, you try to understand mutualism is a type of relationship between two organisms. Here, mutualism or symbiotic association is a relationship between two organisms belongs to two different species. Try to understand what I am telling. Here it is the relationship between the two organisms which are belongs to two different species, and here both the species, both the organisms are benefited for each other and they do not cause any harm to each other. This type of association is called mutualism, or we can say symbiotic association. So here very good example is observed in the yucca plant. This is yucca plant. This yucca plant shows the mutualism with one type of insect commonly called a type of moth. So here yucca plant shows the symbiotic association with the moth. Moth is the type of insect. Here yucca plant is dependent on this moth for its pollination. Without the help of this moth, this yucca plant do not complete its pollination. And this moth is dependent on the yucca plant for laying egg and development of its larvae. In this way, yucca and this moth were shows the mutualism. And in this mutualism mechanism, yucca plant and this moth completes the process of entomophily. When we observe next one, ficus plant shows the mutualism with the type of insects called wasp. This ficus commonly called fig plant. Okay, so here this ficus is showing the mutualism with the wasp. Here this ficus plant dependent on the wasp for pollination and provide the shelter for this wasp. This wasp is dependent on the ficus plant for its shelter, laying the eggs as well as the development of larvae. That means this ficus plant is dependent on the wasp for the pollination, whereas this wasp is dependent on the ficus for its shelter as well as the laying eggs and development of larvae. That means it lay the eggs within the inflorescence of ficus plant. Here eggs are hatched and development of larvae occurs within the inflorescence of ficus plant. Okay, so here wasp. Like this here, yucca and ficus shows the mutualism with respect to the some type of insects to complete entomophily. So here next, there is a one plant called Amorphophallus. Amorphophallus. This Amorphophallus plant produces the flowers which are bigger in size. Commonly, flowers achieves the 6 feet height. Such a greater sized flowers are produced by the Amorphophallus. Due to its bigger size, this flower is become safest place for the insects to lay the egg and to complete their life cycle. Because of this reason, many of the insects visit the Amorphophallus flowers to lay the eggs, and in this phenomena they carried out the entomophily. Like this here, many of the plants, many of the flowers, particularly entomophilous flowers, they show different types of modifications or changes in their biological characters to achieve best entomophily. So please remember this one. The details of yucca flower and the moth, ficus and the wasp, whereas there is another one example, salvia plant and insects. These examples or these mechanisms we discuss in detail in your next session. Okay, so here we have next concept, anemophilous flowers, characteristics of anemophilous flowers. What are anemophilous flowers? The flowers which performs the anemophily are said to be the anemophilous flowers. Means wind pollination. Here anemophily, it is the type of cross-pollination occur with the help of wind. Wind performs the pollination. Such type of pollination is called anemophily. So here, anemophilous flowers. When we observe the characteristics of anemophilous flowers, here the first one is flowers are small. What is the reason? Supposed to be the flowers are bigger in size. They resist the flow of wind. They create the obstacles in wind currents to avoid this problem. Here, flowers are smaller in size. Due to smaller size, wind can easily flow and carry the pollen grains. Here, second one is non-essential floral parts are reduced in size. Non-essential floral parts are reduced in size. What is the meaning of this one? See, while discussing about the structure of a typical flower, there we have discussed that flower comprises the two parts, essential parts and non-essential parts. Essential parts means which are helpful for the sexual reproduction, of course androecium and gynoecium. Non-essential floral parts are not directly participate in the process of sexual reproduction, but they provide shape, size, coloration and protection to the flower. Commonly, corolla and calyx are considered as the non-essential floral parts. Here, in anemophilous flowers, non-essential floral parts are reduced in size. They are smaller in size. Already, I explained that what happened with the big structure. They may create the problem for the flow of wind, or pollen grains are not easily carried by the wind in bigger structure. To avoid these problems, here flowers have become smaller in size and also non-essential parts have reduced their size. Whereas next when we observe, flowers are usually colorless. Generally in entomophilous flowers, flowers have bright colorations, very good colorations to attract the insects. Here, anemophilous flowers performs the pollination through wind, and wind is a biotic factor. There is no need of attracting wind. It is not having any sense. Because of this reason, there is no need of bright colors. Because of this reason, commonly anemophilous flowers are usually commonly colorless. Whereas flowers are developed above the foliage. What is the meaning of a foliage? Leaves, branches, these things are comes under the foliage. When we observe this one, say this is the stem. Here leaves are present, many branches are present. Just observe this one. These are considered as the foliage. Branches, leaves, all these things are comes under the foliage. Supposed to be the flower is remain hidden within the foliage. In between the foliage structures, supposed to be the flower is remain hidden within this foliage. How this wind has to carry the pollen grains from these flowers which are completely remain hidden within the foliage structures. To avoid this problem, here anemophilous flowers are above the foliage. Means they are very well exposed to the wind. This is the meaning. Flowers are developed above the foliage. Whereas next when we observe, more number of stamens are present. Flower commonly produce the more number of stamens. If number of stamens increases, of course, number of pollen grains is also increases. Supposed to be more number of pollen grains are present in the flower, wind can carry the pollen grains very easily. Because of this reason, here commonly anemophilous flowers produce the more number of stamens to produce more number of pollen grains. This become very easy to release the pollen grains into the wind. Whereas next one is stigma is feathery or branched. When we observe this one, commonly typical stigma is present like this. Normally, typically stigma is present like this. But in anemophilous flowers, the stigma is branched. Stigma is branched, or it is feathery. So this is the feathery stigma. This is the feathery stigma, and this one is branched stigma. What is the use of branched and feathery stigma? With the help of this type of stigma, Gynoecium can catch the pollen grains very easily from the wind. The pollen grains which float in wind are very easily captured by the feathery and the branched stigma. Very good example is observed in maize cob. Very common plant. I think you have observed that. This maize cob is having the hairy structure. That hairy structure is nothing but a branched stigma. Due to the presence of such type of branched stigma, this plant very easily captures the pollen grains from the wind. Whereas next, when we observe, pollen grains are non-sticky and light. Here there is no need of sticky nature of pollen grains, because pollen grains has to float in wind. Because of this reason, pollen grains are non-sticky and they are dry. Due to their dry conditions, due to their non-sticky nature, they are very easily wither away from the flowers and reach the wind, carried by the wind, because of their non-sticky nature and the dry conditions. And another one thing, pollen grains are light in weight. Because of their lightweight nature, they easily float in wind and they travel for the longer distance. They carried by the wind for the longer distance. They travel in the wind very easily. See here, pollen grains are light in weight. Because of their light weight, they easily travel, they easily float in wind. Supposed to be pollen grains are heavy, they are not easily carried by the wind, or they do not float in wind. To avoid these problems, here pollen grains are light in weight. So these are some of the adaptive features or the characteristics of anemophilous flowers. Please remember these things. Okay, so here our next concept is hydrophilous flowers. Hydrophily is a cross-pollination, occurs through water or occurs with the help of water. And the flowers which performs the hydrophily are called hydrophilous flowers. To perform hydrophily, these hydrophilous flowers, they show some special characteristics. What are those things? Flowers are smaller in size. Hydrophilous flowers are present in aquatic conditions. As we know that here, supposed to be the bigger size of flowers are present. Water currents may cause the damage to the flowers. To avoid this, commonly hydrophilous flowers are smaller in size. This is the one. Second, flowers are light in weight. Due to their light weight, hydrophilous flowers very easily float in water and they easily withstand in water currents. Because of this reason, they are having lightweight nature. Whereas the next one is commonly the flowers are unwettable. Hydrophilous flowers have smooth, soft texture and a type of waxy coating. Because of this reason, hydrophilous flowers are not easily become wet in water. Pollen grains are light in weight. Pollen grains are light in weight. Because of this reason, they easily float in water. They easily carried by the water because of their light weight. Next, pollen grains are unwettable. Means what the pollen grains released by the hydrophilous flowers in water, these are not easily become wet. because they are covered with a coating of mucilage. Mucilage is a sticky coating. Commonly, when you observe the algae, these algae have a type of sticky coating. This mucilage protects the algae from the water and it avoids the decomposition. In such a way, pollen grains are also covered with the mucilage. This mucilage provides the protection to the pollen grains. It avoids the decomposition of pollen grains in water, and also this mucilage provides the sticky nature to the pollen grains. Because of this, they can easily attach to the female flowers. Next, female flowers are very well exposed. See, when we observe the hydrophilous plants, in these plants, female flowers are very well exposed. Compared to male flowers, female flowers are bigger in size. They easily float on the surface of water body, and these are very well exposed to receive the pollen grains. So these are some of the biological features reported in the hydrophilous flowers. Very good example is reported in the Vallisneria. Vallisneria is the hydrophyte. Here when we observe this Vallisneria, it produces the bigger elongated leaves. Say here, this is the surface of water body. Here, female flowers have bigger stalk. Female flowers possess the bigger stalk. By producing bigger stalk, they reach the surface of water body, and on surface of water body they start to float. Male flowers are smaller in size and they produce more number of pollen grains, large quantity of pollen grains. These pollen grains are very easily released in water, and female flowers which are very well exposed, these female flowers receives the pollen grains. Like this here, Vallisneria performs the hydrophily. So please remember this. Friends, this is today's topic. Thank you. Thank you, friends.